Hey guys, I'm the Dimension Jump, and today I'll be reviewing Among Us, which was released back in 2018, and was and over the years has been released for pretty much every kind of form of console platform stuff. So the main thing about Among Us is that it's basically this online multiplayer game where you and a bunch of your friends do tasks, and there's an imposter, and it's kind of still out self and explained because even though this game was released back in 2018, it didn't explode in popularity until 2020, so around the time of the pandemic, and I think that's when Among Us became really well popularized by people. Like you saw YouTubers playing this game, and it just kind of exploded from there, and mainly because because during the pandemic, not a lot of people could do a lot of stuff, and everyone was inside. So I think one of the few things people could do, apart from doing puzzles, watching a film with your friends or family, depending on what bubble that you're in at the time, and or whatever. One of the things for playing games, and Among Us just happened to be one of the most just happened to blow up in popularity, and I'd say that Among Us is it's one of those few games where it's interesting when you look back at it during its popularity, because it's one of those games that it will normally fly under the radar, but because of word of mouth and because we live on an online culture, we I think that would help to make the game explode in popularity. And I do like the whole uh, thing of you have to do different tasks, and someone being suspicious and being an imposter of sorts, and it's a really good way of lying. It's basically kind of like a murder whodunit, kind of. It's sense of, oh, I was over here, but then I was there. I had to go here to do this task, but I had to do another task and that sort of thing. And it's a really interesting way of just playing a game, but you're doing like different tasks on different maps. And I think one of the later maps that was added, I think a while ago, I'm not 100% sure, was from the Henry Stickmin collection games, and that's quite interesting because the games are bringing in other indie games and stuff like that. And overall, I would say that the game is during its time it's popular, but nowadays I would say it's not as popular. I think the peak was during the pandemic when everyone was inside. It's still an interesting game. I think a lot of the tasks are interesting, like repair wires, um, fixing lights, oxygen stuff, and garbage or whatever stuff, like tasks, that those kinds of tasks are really cool to see, like, oh, I've got this task, this task, this task, and just whatever. So overall, I'd say Among Us is it's an interesting game, and when you look at the foundations of it and how it became more popular than it did, and yeah, I would say it was an interesting game, but looking at back at it now, it's kind of slowly dipped down in popularity. I still think it's somewhat relevant, or kind of, but not as much as it was back then. Some people, some of the stuff is still in the, I would say, the human lexicon, like some of the words like sus. People sometimes say that as like a joke or a meme, because like this game did bring out some memes as well. Over something like one of them being sus, and yeah, I would say Among Us overall it's interesting, and yeah, I think looking back at it, it's kind of interesting to see how this to see why this game became popular as it is. So that's been my review for Among Us. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.